Well, hello. So today we're going to draw Chapter 7's end of book exercises. So let's get into it. We'll draw the swivel yoke first, and that's going to be in inches. So I'm going to start a new template. And we're going to try to draw so that when we're done, our part's going to be oriented the same way. So I'm going to draw this profile here on the front plane so that we're looking at it just like in a book. And as I always do, I'm just going to draw the size and shape roughly, and then we'll go back and get everything located right. Now, if you notice, I'm making sure to imply perpendiculars, horizontals, etc. And I'm going to make sure this is vertically aligned as well. It saves a little time later. It's 1 inch. I'm going to say that this one equals this one, so I don't have to bother putting in another dimension. And 1.75 tall. We'll set this line to equal this one because I don't believe it had a dimension there. And let's see. Let's put this part right here, the top of it, coincident to the origin point. Take the midpoint of it. Yep, there it is. And make it coincident. Alright, let's see what else we need here. Okay, so it has to have a width. Yeah, 2.5. Okay. And let's see, we're still missing something. An overall width, naturally. Alright, so it is going to be 3 deep. And let's try drawing one of these features and then we'll mirror the other one. That way we don't have to do it twice. I'm going to draw the rough shape. Oops. I'll try to hit the edges too. And for now I'm just going to draw a little rectangle. I'll put the round part in a second. Okay, so we'll make that vertically aligned to the center point. Make this tangent. And extend it. Trim. So we know that this line and this line are equal. We also know that this one and this one are equal. And it is, I believe it was 1. Yeah, 1. Radius of 0.5. And 2 wide up top. Let's see. We're missing the overall height still. So it's 3 to this edge here. So we're going to project that edge. And extrude it. And it's going to be 1. Alright, so instead of drawing that same thing again, we're going to use the mirror tool, and I'll choose this existing feature, and then for mirror plane I'm going to choose this middle. So obviously if you were not conscious in that first sketch to make sure your part was centered here, you wouldn't be able to use that plane, because the way a mirror works is it offset to exactly the distance from that plane to this feature. So If you're having problems, that's probably your issue. And then we've got a hole of 1.5. And you know, instead of doing it like that on the face, I guess I could have used this plane since I made it conveniently in the right location before. And I think it was 1.5. Yeah. And you know, I probably should have done the bottom circle first, so we're gonna jump over to that real quick. And it's 3. And I'm just gonna move the sketch below it, that way I can extrude it all in one go. Okay, so it's 2.5 from the top of that face to the bottom, but I drew it from the bottom, so I'm gonna have to subtract 2.5 and 1.75, which is 0.75. And then I'll take that other sketch and just do a through all cut. And there we go. Make sure that you change your material to cast iron. It's called iron cast in this case. And there you have it. Okay, so the next one is the angle bracket. It's also inches. And we'll do the top view first. Be conscious, you know, of this view cube. A lot of times it rotates, but we're going to try to always make everything, you know, the same position that it's shown in the book. Alright, so this one's a little trickier. I think I'm just going to draw it out in space and then I'll move it in position when I'm happy with it. Now looking at it, it appears that this edge are perpendicular, and same with these. So I'm just going to draw the box shape over here, and then we know that this line is parallel to that line. So I'll just put it here for now. Let's say they're parallel. Draw a circle. And make it all line up nice and pretty. Okay, so this edge should be 3. It's 2.75 here. I'll draw the slot in a minute. It's 2.5 to the circle edge. Make sure this is a line dimension. 1.5. That may be it. I don't feel like there's a great place position-wise to put this. So I'm going to just put a random point on a sketch on the origin, and that's fine. You know, it's not great, but okay. And there's 30-degree angle we need. All right, so we still need a circle hole, and I'm just going to draw a fresh one actually. Uh, 0.75 thick. And I'm going to draw on this face, that way we're aligned to the view. I'm going to project this edge, and I'll project the top edge too. There we go. Okay, so what we have is roughly a shape kind of like this. And I will go back later and have to cut out, you know, the circular profile, but it's kind of hard to get this angle right if you go the other way. Okay. And it just comes straight down, it appears. Hate when it does that. That's okay. Alright, I'm going to trim these. And let's slap in some dimensions. Whoops, I dimensioned to the wrong spot. Okay. So from here to here is 1.5, and then from here to here is 0.75. It's 75 degrees. You know, I could set this to equal the other one, you know, project that edge and do that, but that's okay. I'm just going to roll with it like this. I'm still going to project that edge, though, to make this one collinear to that one. And then our overall height is 2.25. There we go. That looks more like it. Okay, and instead of trying to put in the number, I'm just going to choose 2 and choose the other face. So now it looks more like the actual shape we're looking for. And for the sake of being lazy, I'm actually just going to project these edges. And in doing so, I can actually just extrude cut without having to choose anything. Oh, but I do need to project the edges of my square still. There we go. Alright, so now I can do a 2 and go to the other end of the face. That's this one right here. And that might be it. Let's take a look. Oh, I need fillets in the slot still. I take that back. Okay, so we have rounds of 0.25. Well, let's go ahead and do the slot first, actually. I could have done it on the original face. I'm going to go back and add it there, actually. Let's see. Where is the slot button? There we go. Okay, so 0.75. 1.5 and 0.5. Well, there's another 0.5 as well. Alright, I'm just going to shift these dimensions around, get them a little more tidy. I'm sure you noticed they just jumped the whole time I was doing that. And you may be wondering why it is that I did not put the fillets in on this sketch. It's because it's just sloppy. We're going to do a feature for that. So it's 0.25, and it appears to be these two edges. It may be this one, but it's so pixelated it's hard to tell. We'll leave that one as a up to you to choose part. Alright, and our material is carbon steel. There we go. And there you have it, the ankle bracket. Oh, this one looks fun. The connecting rod, it's inches. I mean, that's going to be a doozy, ain't it? What I'm going to do is draw on the front plane, and I'm just going to draw everything. And then we'll minus these parts right here. And then we'll just extrude multiple times using the same sketch. Because it appears that the intent is to have this rod attached to something, I'm going to use the center point as my origin location. And it's about 2 in size. I'm just going to go ahead and actually put in dimensions, and I'll I'll go ahead and trim and redimension them later, but I try to do things in a different way every time so you can see the different practices you can take. Okay, and it's 6.5 from there. I'm going to ballpark that. Okay, I'm going to draw a temporary line. Well, I take that back. I'm not going to. It's fine. 6.5. I'm going to make these horizontally aligned. Okay, so it's 3 between centers, but then it's 0.25 from there. So it's an overall height from this edge to this edge of 2.5, which conveniently means that it is tangent to this point of the circle because it's 2.5 diameter. So basically, I'm going to go ahead and draw some horizontal lines, make them tangent. I'm going to go ahead and draw a line through the middle of this circle so I can trim it. When I do, it should delete these dimensions, but we'll see. It did not. That's okay. I'm going to go back and put radius ones just to make it match the book. And I'm going to go ahead and draw these lines so that we can try to get that big old circle in there, the giant fillet. Technically, you could do a feature, but we're going to do a sketch one for this take. And that is 0.75. I'm going to dimension it to the circle so I can, center it up. I'm going to go ahead and trim the rest of this too. Try to tidy up as we go. Okay, so we need a edge of 0.75. And we're going to say this one equals the bottom one. It's a radius of 2. And I'm going to set it to be tangent here and coincident here. Move this in so it's a little easier to see. And we'll do the same thing on the other side. We're just going to set it to equal this one. Okay, so we still need this little cutout in the middle and these fillets. Well, these 2 fillets. So we'll do the fillets first. I'll set it to a radius dimension. Oop, I hit the wrong button. I believe it was 0.5. Yes. I'm going to copy this one. And I'll set it to be tangent, 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 tangent. Trim off these little edges. Trim these two, I believe. Yeah. And let's put the slot in. So it's 0.5 by 3. And we'll make this center point horizontally aligned to that circle center so that we have it located properly. And let's see, it's 2 to here. All right, let's give it a shot and see if it comes out right. I'd be lying if I said I drew these before. Oh, you know what? I have something not fully constrained. Let's see. What could it be? It's got to be a random line somewhere. Let's take a look at that. Interesting. I'm going to set this one to equal this one while I'm here. But what is it? Oh, there it is. I'm just going to drag it in place. I didn't trim it on this side. Alright, so the overall width is 1 for the thickest part. I don't think there's anything else that's 1 here. Yeah, it appears this is 1 as well. Okay, so I'll grab these two shapes. Make it symmetrical for the sake of, ease. Turn the sketch visibility on so you can reuse the sketch. And this part's 0.5 thick. Again, make sure it's symmetrical. Oh, I need to select that middle portion. Alright, and then I need to have the overall thickness of 0.5 minus 0.125 for both sides. So I need it to be 0.25. Actually, I kind of goofed here. That's okay. So obviously I can't, because the slot's not all the way through, I can't, reuse that geometry. So I'm actually just going to project that slot that I drew earlier, which unfortunately we can't see. So let's see if the slice graphics helps. No bueno. That's okay. I'll just go ahead and cut that out of the original just so we can keep it tidy. I might have deleted something extra there. Let's look again. Let's just move this over here. There we go. Sometimes that happens. Alright, so what we'll do instead is draw that profile and then we'll mirror it again, just like we did in the earlier exercise. Okay, so it was, I believe, 2 right here. Yep. Overall width of 3. .5 tall. Aligned to the center of the part. Okay, so I'm going to cut it 0.125 deep. Whoops, not through all. That's okay. And then I'm going to mirror that across what would be the front plane, XY. And there's that. I think the only thing we need now is these little tabs. Let's make sure. So it would seem. Oh, wrong face. Okay. And ironically, I'm going to mirror it again too. I'm not going to draw it down here. I'm just going to mirror it across the top plane. And it works smarter, not harder. Just going to draw some vertical lines and a circle. Trim off the excess. Make sure this edge is projected, of course. It's 0.25 from here to here. It needs to be lined up vertically, the center point to the center of the part. It's a radius of 0.25 and a diameter of 0.25. It's 0.5. And then let's do another mirror to finish this up. I'm going to choose that feature, the top plane, and hit OK. And the material is carbon steel. All right. The tube hanger. It's inches again. Let's draw it on the right side. That way it's lined up. This is a terrible front view to be looking at this direction, but you know, let's keep to the trueness of the book. And we're going to use the center point for our origin center because that's just a great, you know, option. Anytime you can put a circle in the middle, I bite at the bit for that. Okay, so it's a diameter of 3, diameter of 4. Now this one, you know, it's hard to tell, but that line, if you look at it, it's parallel to this line, and you know that this line's horizontal, so that lets you know that this bottom line is also horizontal. So we're going to draw a random horizontal line, and then I'm going to draw straight up, and then make a slant that I'm going to make tangent to the top. So I'll get it kind of close to it. Alright, so tangent, 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 tangent. Let's put a height in here. 2 times 1. Trim. What am I looking for here? Oh, width. Okay, so 5 wide. Cool. Okay, so 1.5 both ways. I'm going to turn the sketch visibility back on so I can reuse it. I could also hit share sketch, but it's the same concept. You know, what's the point? Okay, it's 0.75 thick here. And I'm going to turn that sketch visibility back off. So it's a little easier to see. Draw on this face here. And I'm going to go ahead and project the edges. I'll just click the face. And it looks like we'll have pretty basic shape, just some more horizontal lines. If you don't want to snap to these edges, just choose to rotate the part and then draw. Draw a circle. which is going to be tangent. We'll pull this line out a little bit so it's easier to trim. Same here. Okay, and it's too wide from the outside. Whoop, bad clicks. And you may notice I didn't have to put that R1. That's obviously because it's tangent on both ends, and you've already got a height given of 2. All right, and then we're going to extrude it 1 deep. And then apply our material of aluminum 6061. All right, well, that's that guy. Here's the last 2. Millimeters. We'll do a top view of this one. Rotate your cube when it inevitably rotates for no reason. And I'm going to draw this as vertical, so this will be tapered downward. I believe, yeah, so we've got perpendicular corners for these 2 and these 2. Not very to scale, but you get the idea. Don't like whenever it shows us projected edges in 2 spots. I don't want it to try to make relationships I may not need, you know? That's okay. It didn't get to perpendicular, but that's fine. We'll work it out. Okay. There's not really a great edge choice again, so I'm just going to go very generic, and I'll make this point coincident here. And then we'll just go from there. It's fine. 60 wide, 75 wide here, kind of weird. Perfect 45 degrees. Uh, 115, this edge. 60 for this one. We'll apply the fillets afterwards, that way, you know, it doesn't complicate the sketch too much. Usually when you throw fillets in on corners that you're dimensioning to, it's a catastrophe, needless to say. I'm not going to draw this outer slot, but I'm going to draw this inner one. Well, it's a little large, I think, but that's okay. Okay, so making a line dimension to it. The slot width is 50. It's 30 to the center from the edge. And the book specifies here that, I mean, it's kind of really not very clear, but it wants you to dimension this edge to the center and then say it's 75 divided by 2. You can tell that by this little sigma, the red sigma. That's basically a symbol for equations in SolidWorks. And whoever drew this clearly forgot to make it more inventor friendly. But that's okay. That's why I'm here. We'll take care of that. It's gotta be a thickness. 30. Okay, so it's 30 thick. I'm gonna go down just because. We'll just go ahead and draw the circle on the side, because why not? It's 15 from the bottom, 30 from the side. 15 diameter. Alright, so we can't tell how deep that hole goes, so you have to assume it's through all, because otherwise it would have given you a depth. So let's add that extra part of the slot here. Instead of trying to draw it all though, I'm going to project the face and then see if I can't just offset it. Yeah, it's a lot more work than drawing it again. That's why I gave the 10 dimension, so that you could just offset it. It's a heck of a lot easier than doing it twice. And it's a depth of 5. Alright, so our fillets everywhere are R10. So we got this edge, this edge. I'm assuming it's every corner. Let's take a look and make sure. Okay, so that one appears to have one and that one. So yeah, it's all corners. Yep, that appears to be it. Let's put brass on it and call it a day. Let's do brass soft yellow, since it's not specified. You know which kind of brass it is. And we're going to jump back into inches for the last one, the incline lift. We'll draw on the front view. Draw some horizontal and vertical lines. That was a terrible example of that. Alright, and then a slanted line. It appears that it goes a little bit lower than this part. And it also appears that this line is vertical and parallel to this line. And I'm just going to draw it horizontal, and then I'll just extend to make it meet and trim the excess. Okay, so it's 2.25 here, 0.5 from here to here, and be conscious, if it doesn't say inches, that means these two lines you drew are not parallel. And in that case, it would show degrees, and you need to make them parallel and then apply the half-inch thickness dimension. Pretty crucial step. All right, these are both 0.5, this line and this line, so I'm going to set them to equal each other. It's 0.75 for here to here. Overall width of 5. Oh, bad click. And we'll squeeze it right here. You know, I forgot to locate and reference the origin. Let's just say, how about this top corner? We'll make it coincident to the origin point, because it doesn't appear that we have a good spot. I'm just going to tug this down and then put whatever we've got here to tie it in. It's 1.5 tall from here to the bottom point. Alright, so let's extrude 3 both ways. Not 63, just 3. I'm going to go ahead and draw this part first. I'll project the face. I'll draw that slot. And then our traditional little set of vertical lines in a circle. Now, if you notice, it extrudes all the way through both. So you really need to make sure, and just to be clear, I'm going to delete this edge. Well, unfortunately, I can't delete it without deleting the other edges. I'd have to delete the whole projected face. So I'm going to project this bottom edge, though, because it has to cut through the furthest extent of the side. I'm going to trim, and it's 0.75 here to here. 1.5 wide slot. 0.75 to the center, and 0.5 tall. I'm going to make this circle aligned vertically, even though it's horizontal that I had to choose, to this one. And it's 1 wide. So 2, whoops. Okay, I'm using some bad math here, so I'm just gonna dimension the width of 1. And sometimes you may notice it had a coincident here but not there. It's one of those times where you may just have to turn them on and off to see the right thing. So now I'm just going to finish aligning it, give it a height of 1.75 from the top edge. Cool. Okay. Let's extrude these two shapes. And I'm going to draw on this top plane since I made that point in the right spot where I could just draw and it still be aligned to the top face. Okay, I'm going to set these circles to equal each other. Make them a little smaller. Bad dimension. I did tangents on both. It was inconvenient. I need to make these vertically aligned as well. It appears to be 0.5. All right, let's do a cut through all. Yeah, that appears to be it. Let's put that material on it. Still mild. And that's it for chapter 7. All right, well, thank you guys for watching.